Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum again. And here we are with another episode of Deenversation. So the conversation which we'll be having today, let's ask Ahmed. Ahmed, what do you have on mind today?
I think, sorry, what do I have on mind today? I was, from our previous discussion about intellectualism in faith and all about that, when we delved into that realm, I was just thinking about some people, even when they intellectualize their faith, they can't seem to rationalize the fact that their faith doesn't equate to divine intervention in their life. So, a perfect Muslim, for example, he might think that he's entitled to a better job, a better car, and more financial stability, and all of these things just because he follows his faith. So, is this true? Should we gain any advantage from our faith? And people normally expect this, even the youth, that if we follow our faith perfectly, then our life will also follow along perfectly.
Okay, this is a very difficult one actually, or I'd rather say it's a tricky one. So look, first of all, yes, if we Muslims follow Islam in its totality,
Yeah.
our condition as a people, as a community, as an ummah, will be much better. And similarly, the world will be a better place to live.
What does that mean? Our situation as an ummah.
Okay.
Does that mean financially?
Even financially.
Okay.
Maybe not necessarily in the very short run, but generally, look, the rules of Islam, the system of Islam is a very complete system, and it has rules for economics. It has rules for our social interactions. So male, female, all those laws
Of
and
course.
rules. It has rules for how to rule, how to have a governance system. It has, rules about the punishment
laws, yeah.
system and everything. So, and these rules are actually perfect. Why? Because they are coming from the Creator. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the Creator, and He knows what rules will benefit the humans the most. Now, if we collectively are following these things, definitely there will be prosperity when we follow the economic laws, because those laws ensure that money, wealth does not accumulate in the hands of a few. You know the problem of Western
course.
capitalism. We are seeing it every day. This is happening even in our countries now, that the richer are getting richer, the rich are getting richer, and the poor are getting poorer.
But that's debatable, though.
I don't think it's debatable, but we can have a debate on that one
Of course.
particularly. And I'll then, inshallah, present you with the latest Oxfam report on wealth accumulation. They release a report every year, and this year it was really devastating what they produced on the 20th
Really?
of January. Yes, we can talk about that. So that's the case about what I said collectively. But when you talk about individuals, look, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us a clear understanding, a very clear narrative, that He says that He will test you, right? It's
Yes.
Again and again the word is used that He is going to test you. He
course.
will send musibah on you.
Of
He will
course.
send like things on you which you won't like, and that could be in form of illness. It could be in form of wealth getting
course.
lesser, so you getting poor. It could be in form of any other thing, relationships. So you will have issues. This is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has told us that He will do, that He will test us, and those who pass the test will have an eternal, happy and pleasured afterlife. That's actually the deal which we make with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Okay.
We should be very clear about it. But again, another good thing is that if we are following Islam, we'll have, even in this dunya, we'll have a very tranquility-filled life. We'll have sukoon, we'll be relaxed. Why? Because that's the normal state for a human being, to know his Lord, his Creator, and then if you know that and you worship your Lord, your Creator, then you'll be at ease, because that's then the normal state. So that will happen, but it's no guarantee for the things which you said. Not necessarily. I can't promise myself, you, or anyone out there that if they start praying and are very much convinced of
But is
Islam.
spiritual tranquility that we talked about, that we get, the fulfillment that we get from our relationship with Allah, so is that spiritual tranquility enough for our lives? can that carry us through the turmoil of financial difficulties, that tranquility?
Yes.
Because many people have broken their faith due to such difficulties. So what do you think about that?
I would say that they were not, they didn't have the correct understanding of the Islamic, I would say, yeah, they didn't have the correct Islamic understanding. They started off with the wrong understanding. They were not anticipating that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to test them. And by the way, that's a big problem. I think our youth needs to understand that, and more than the youth, their parents need to understand that look, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to test us. This will happen. Especially, and you know who Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said in a hadith, you know who gets tested the most?
Who?
He said it's the people who are the closest to Allah, because the test is according to your taqwa. And then he said the most tested person was me. He meant himself. Why? Because he was or is closest to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Of course.
And then he said that it is according to your iman, your level of iman. So if there is a person who has a very strong iman, he should actually expect that he's going to be tested more. You can think of it like the adaptive test in GRE. You know, there are these computer adaptive tests.
Of course.
And you have this concept that they throw a question at you, which is like average difficulty level. And if you correctly answer it, the next question will be of higher difficulty.
Yeah.
And if you don't answer it, then the next question will be of lower difficulty. So more or less, just to explain, this is something which happens. So because it doesn't make a sense that a person with a very strong iman and that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala throws small things at him. And it also doesn't make sense that a person who is such a weak iman that he would fall for the smallest of tests, he would like fail in the smallest of tests, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would give him something very big. No need to test that person. So this is more or less how it works, according to that hadith as well.
Why would Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala want to test his most faithful servants?
Well, that goes back to the question actually, that why would Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala actually want to test anyone, right?
Because a God that we can believe in, we can trust in, he shouldn't be able to allow suffering in his most loyal subjects, isn't this?
No, then you should first say that he shouldn't be testing anyone.
Yeah, he shouldn't be testing anyone.
Right?
There should be no suffering.
There should be no suffering, exactly. Now that's the problem in our understanding. We don't exactly know why he does that. We can't answer that question. Okay, we can't answer questions about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, even his attributes or his will, his wishes, unless Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has told us.
So there are certain things, you admit, that can't be intellectualized by faith.
Oh yes. So what can be intellectualized and what should be is the existence of Allah. Once you come at the existence of Allah, that's step number one. And then you come at the need for messengers that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has to communicate. He will communicate with us humans. And then you come to the last point, which is that Quran being the word of Allah, which makes Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam one of the messengers and the last messenger actually. So this is the complete package, which is the intellectual part. After that, you then become actually a slave to Allah who accepts and believes in whatever is in the Quran and in the Sunnah. And you become someone who will not go out of the ambit of it. So if, for instance, I don't have an answer about Allah's will, Allah's wishes, why did Allah do that, why will He do that, then I look up in these, we call them nusus, in these texts. And if there is no answer in these texts, then silence, and we don't know. And inshallah, once we meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, once we meet Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in Jannah, we'll ask him.
It makes sense.
Okay, so we're done for today.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, audience. See you again tomorrow, inshallah.